and welcome to day 23 of Move for Mind. We're going to be starting things off with a Vinyasa flow today, so grab 2 blocks, have them handy if you need them for your hamstrings, but we're really going to be focusing on tuning in this week. So seeing with every movement that you're making, how present can you be with your body, how present can you be with your breath. So if that means you drop down and take a child's pose, drop down and take a child's pose. Work with your body, work with how you are today. But we're going to begin in an easy seated position. So either keeping the legs crossed or knees out in front. You can sit up onto a block if you want. Rolling the shoulders up and away from the ears. Taking a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. One more like this, in through the nose and out through the mouth. And we're going to begin with a few neck stretches today. So walking the left hand just off to the left, inhaling the right arm lifts, bringing right hand to the outside of the right ear, keeping that right shoulder down and away from the ear. Then inhale, growing tall through the spine. Exhale, just gently allowing the weight of the right hand on the left ear to find an opening down the left side of the neck. So you're not pulling with that hand, you're just gently encouraging the head to come down towards the right shoulder. If you do want to go a little bit further, you can push fingertips down, left fingertips down into the ground. You can also start to turn your head looking towards your right knee, keeping those shoulders down away from the ears. Inhale and exhale. Inhale to release, coming back into center, bringing right fingertips down to the mat. Inhaling, left arm lifts. Bringing left hand onto the left ear and pressing the right fingertips down into the ground as you gently allow the left ear to fall down towards the left shoulder, finding that opening in the right side of the neck. Keeping the spine long. Inhale. Exhale, maybe turning the head to look down towards the left knee. This side might feel different to the other. Really checking in, noticing how your body is reacting to these movements. How present can you be with the sensations of the body? Inhale to release that hand, coming back into center. Next inhale, growing tall through the spine. Exhale to look down, stretching the back of the neck. Inhale, lifting the head, looking up. Exhale, center. Inhale, looking over to the right. Exhale, center. Inhale to the left. Exhale, center. Maybe just taking a few rolls of the shoulders. And then coming to the top of the mat, pressing the hands down, coming into your Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Maybe pedaling out through the feet. Maybe coming high onto the balls of the feet, taking a deep bend in the knees, really pushing in with the hands to send the chest towards the thighs. And then starting to allow the heels to come down towards the ground. Either making movements here that feel good, or coming to that point of stillness. First one of the practice, maybe your first one of the day, so taking what you need. And finding that stillness when you're ready. Inhaling, the right leg lifts, coming high onto the ball of the left foot, bringing right knee to the nose, planting right foot in between the palms, lowering left knee down, untucking the back toes. Inhale, finding your low lunge. Option here to stay here in our low lunge, or you can take Kali Mudra, so interlacing the fingers, releasing the index finger, crossing the thumbs, and bringing the hand up towards the sky, pointing up through the fingertips, maybe starting to let the hips sink down a little bit further. Maybe the arms start to come back behind the ears, finding a back bend. Inhale, staying with the breath. Exhale, finding your space in your low lunge or your Kapiyasana. Inhale and exhale. One more inhale here. Exhale, Releasing the hands, maybe grabbing hold of those blocks. Straightening through the front leg, bringing the big toes up towards the face, finding your half splits. Inhale to extend through the spine, really lengthening here. Exhale to fold over that front leg, so slightly twisting to look over that front leg. Sending the right hip back as the left hip comes forward. Notice if you're sinking back onto the heel here, bringing the left hip above the left knee. Almost like you're sucking that right leg back in towards the body. Inhale, staying strong and straight through the spine. And exhale. We're going to float between these two now. So if you do need to keep the blocks either side, keep the blocks either side. Inhale, coming back to that low lunge. Exhale, sending the hips back, arms down, half split. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, lengthening. Inhale, low lunge. Exhale, half splits. Seeing if you can make the movement really fluid. Inhale, coming back to that low lunge to pause. Exhale, bringing hands to the floor or hands to bricks. And this time, as we push the hips back and straighten, we're going to bring that back foot flat, coming into our pyramid pose. So both legs straight, hips are squared, both toes pointing up towards the top of the mat. Inhale, pushing down into the bricks to find length in the spine. Exhale, starting to fold. Maybe you have the blocks, maybe you do not. Taking what you need, but finding that stretch all down the back of the right hamstring. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale to fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale to look up halfway, then stepping the left foot in to meet the right. Coming into your Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, keeping a bend here in the knees. Maybe taking hold of opposite elbows. Maybe just rocking the body from side to side. And inhale, coming into that halfway lift. Then stepping the right foot in front of the left. So crossing over the legs, keeping the legs fairly straight. You can keep a soft bend in the knees. And inhale, find that length. So sending the hips back. And exhale, starting to walk, over to the right. So right fingertips over towards the right side of the mat. Letting the head hang heavy. Really pushing into the fingertips, finding that stretch down the left leg. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale to come into center, taking the right foot, feet hips distance apart. Exhale, fold. Inhaling, root to rise, gaze follows thumbs. Taking hold of the left wrist with the right hand, extending. Exhale, taking a side bend over towards the right, sending the hips out towards the left. Keep spiraling the ribcage up towards the ceiling. Inhale, center. Exhale, left, taking hold of the right wrist with the left hand as you lean up and over to the left. Hips out to the right, spiraling that ribcage skyward. Inhale, coming up to center, look up, reach up. Exhale, folding over the legs, finding your Uttanasana. Inhale is your halfway lift. Exhale, planting the hands, stepping back to find your plank. Bringing knees down, chin and chest come to the ground as elbows hug in towards the center line of the body. Inhale, coming through to find your cobra. Exhale, tucking toes under, downward facing dog. Coming back to this pose. Taking the time here to check in with the body. Notice how the left side might feel slightly different to the right now. Becoming aware of what you're doing with your breath. Have you been holding your breath? If so, just coming back to the natural rhythm of your breath. And inhaling, the left leg lifts. High on the ball of the right toes as left knee comes to nose. Planting left foot in between the palms and lowering the right knee down. Inhale, lifting arms up, coming to low lunge. An option here to find that Kali Mudra, so interlacing the hands, the palms, releasing the forefingers. Thumbs can either be crossed or uncrossed depending what you feel is right. Inhaling, the arms lift. Maybe sending the arms back in line with the ears. Maybe starting to find a back bend here, sinking into the hips. Keeping shoulders down away from the ears. And staying with your breath. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale to release, palms down towards the floor. As you send the hips back, straightening through that left leg. Finding your half Hanumanasana and your half splits. Grabbing hold of the blocks if you want the blocks either side. But really bringing that left hip back as that right hip comes forward, squaring through the hips. Inhale to lengthen through the chest. Exhale to hinge and fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale to fold. Inhale. And exhale. Much like Safi snoring. Inhale, bending back into that left knee, bringing the arms up above the head, finding that low lunge. Exhale, sending the hips back to your half splits. So really finding this fluid motion here, seeing with how much control can you move between each pose. You can really follow your own breath, moving at your speed here, moving in line with your body, creating your own rhythm. The next inhale will come back into that low lunge. Exhale to bring hands to the floor, maybe grabbing hold of those blocks. Exhale, tucking those back toes under, straightening through the front leg to find your pyramid pose. Really pressing in with the back outer edge of that right foot. And like we did in the half splits, bringing the left hip back as the right hip comes forward. Inhale, how much length can you find in the spine? Before exhale, maybe starting to fold over. So not collapsing here, keeping the spine long and strong. Focusing all your energy, all your attention onto the body, noticing what's going on with the hamstrings. And what it feels like to be in this pose in this time. Not worrying about if you did it last week, what it felt like then. Just noticing how it feels today. Inhale to look up halfway. Exhale, stepping right foot in to meet the left, finding your Uttanasana, your forward fold. Maybe keeping a gentle bend in the knees here. Inhale, coming up halfway, then stepping left foot in front of the right and walking the hands off to the top of the mat towards the left. Keeping the left leg can be bent in front, but seeing if you can keep that right leg relatively straight. Whew. Hello, hamstrings. Making themselves known today. Coming back to that breath. Inhale. Exhale, walking the hands back into centre, taking left foot, so feet are parallel. And finding that Uttanasana, your half, your fold. And inhale, pushing into the feet to roll all the way up. Lifting hands up above the head. Exhale, taking the left hand with the right hand. Inhale to extend. Exhale, finding that side bend over to the right. Maybe crossing left toes behind the right leg. Finding a little curtsy stretch here. Inhale, coming into centre. Bringing that left wrist around the right. Stepping right foot behind the left. Finding that little half moon curtsy to the left. Inhale, coming back into centre, looking up, reaching up. Exhale, hinging and folding, keeping a bend in the knees here if you need. Inhale to look up halfway and lengthen. Exhale, planting hands and stepping back to find your high plank. Finding a breath in your high plank, really pushing in with your hands into the ground, activating through the core, through the shoulders, through the whole of the back body. then either bringing knees down, or if you do want to start coming into that full chaturanga, bending the elbows, keeping them close in towards the body, finding that halfway point. Inhale is upward facing dog. Exhale is downward facing dog. Or coming to a child's pose if you would like to take child's pose here. But refinding your breath, refinding your posture. Inhale to come high onto the balls of the feet, rippling forward with the spine, keeping the arms straight and almost lowering like you're coming into a upward facing dog, but the toes are tucked, legs are away from the floor. Exhale, like someone's lifting you up from your hips, coming back into downward dog. Inhale, rippling forward, lowering the hips, finding the back bend. Exhale, lifting the hips, coming back into downward dog. 3 more like this. Inhale, rippling forward, following your breath, finding that modified upward dog. Exhale, the hips lift you, your core sends you back into downward dog. Inhale, modified upward dog, keeping shoulders away from the ears, peeling the chest through the arms. Exhale, lifting the hips, downward dog. Last one, inhale, coming through, finding that modified upward dog. Exhale, hips high to the sky, downward facing dog. And inhaling the right leg lifts, coming high on the ball of the left toes, bringing right knee to the nose, stepping right foot into the palms. Then staying up on the ball of that left foot, inhaling, sending the arms back in line with the body as you come into that diagonal lunge. So not quite coming up into crescent, keeping the chest low. High on the ball of that back foot as the right hip is going back, as the left hip is coming forward. Inhale. Exhale, bringing hands to prayer, coming up right onto the toes of the left foot and finding your way into warrior 3. Now maybe you just lift the left toes a little bit away from the floor here, starting to find, keeping that arching sensation. So like we were in our upward dog, keeping that sensation in the chest, so you're not slumping down, you're arching up. Navel into the spine, and maybe that left leg starts to lift, keeping a soft bend in that right knee, but trying to keep the hips square. So pointing those big toes down towards the ground. Inhale. Exhale to keep a soft bend in that right knee, bringing left knee behind the right knee, finding that curtsy. Now you can bring the left toes to the mat if you find that you're wobbling a lot. If you can, keep the left toes lifted. Ooh, feeling that in the glutes. Shoulders down away from the ears. Stay with your breath. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale to straighten, lengthen, making your way into Virabhadrasana 2. So maybe walking the feet further apart here. Keeping the heel of the right foot roughly in line with the instep, so the arch of the foot of the back. Really pushing in with the back outer edge of that back foot. Finding your hips square to the front of the mat. Maybe just encouraging the back of the hips down with the thumb. Inhaling, arms lift. Finding that Virabhadrasana 2, that warrior 2. Can you sink a little bit deeper into that front knee? Really sending the palms away from each other. Inhale. Exhale to straighten that front leg, bumping the back toes in slightly, turning the left foot, so it's that 45-degree angle pointing towards the top of the mat. Inhaling, arms straight, lean forward, reach forward as far as you can, like someone's pulling onto that right hand, then spiraling the right hand down towards the mat as the left hand goes up towards the ceiling, finding your Trikonasana, your triangle pose. If you do need to come to a block here, just placing it to the outside of the leg as the left hand goes up towards the sky. Really focusing on opening your chest up towards the ceiling. Inhale and exhale. Inhale to bring the left hand to the left hip, staying with the block if you need, bending into that right knee and maybe taking the block about a foot in front of the face, or the hand's going to come in front of the face as we inhale, lifting up, finding our half moon. So finding that strength, that stability in the bottom leg. Then maybe using the hand on the hip to help encourage the hip to open. Maybe gaze goes up towards the ceiling. Mine will not today, I'm quite wobbly today. Maybe hand comes down to the mat. Maybe left hand goes up towards the ceiling. Maybe you bend the left leg. Maybe you take the hold of the inside of the foot to find your Chapasana. Staying with the breath. Breath is balance. If you start to hold your breath in these postures, you will inevitably fall. So following the rhythm of your breath, always coming back to your breath. If you do have the Chapasana releasing, then everybody slowly with control bending into that right knee to land left toes to the back of the mat, planting left hand down, inhale, right arm lifts, finding your twisted lunge. Maybe staying here, maybe coming on to the outside of the feet, maybe allowing the hips to sink down to the ground as that right hand goes back. Inhale. Exhale, bringing right hand down to mat, and either stepping back to your downward dog or working through your Vinyasa, your Chaturanga, to make your way to downward facing dog. And taking a cleansing breath here, allowing yourself to let go of the flow, let go of the class so far. Inhale and exhale. If you have been in that child's pose, coming back into downward facing dog, you can always pause the video here if you want more of a break between the sides of the body. Then inhale, lifting the left leg up, high onto the ball of the right toes as left knee comes to the nose. Left foot plants in between the hands, coming high onto the ball of that right foot. Inhale, bringing arms back in line with the body to find that diagonal lunge. So like a shooting arrow here. Really engage through this posture. Shoulders are down away from the ears. Fingertips are pointing to the back of the mat. You're high on the ball of that right foot. Left hip is going backward as right hip is coming forward. Stay with your breath. Inhale. Exhale, bringing hands into the prayer to lift yourself up into that warrior three. Now, if you're going so far as that you're tilted slightly forward, you've got a gentle bend in that left knee. So not a big bend, just a softening of the knee. Engaging through the core to maybe lift the right toes slightly away from the mat. This is great. Finding your warrior three here, starting to play with that balance. And maybe over time, you start to hinge forward further. Trusting yourself, trusting your body, trusting your balance. Keeping that back foot flexed, keeping toes pointed down towards the floor. So not opening up the hip, it's a closed hip position. Ooh. Hips going to the top of the mat, arching through the chest, so we're not sinking down, but it's almost like we're reaching up. Inhale. Exhale, deeper bend into that left knee as right knee comes behind the left, taking that curtsy squat. Right toes can come to the mat, right toes can stay lifted, depending on where you are with your balance, with your body today. Ooh. And wobbling is good, wobbling is where the body's learning. Inhale. Exhale, finding your way into warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. Back foot parallel to the back outer edge of the mat, maybe widening your stance here slightly, bringing hands to the hips and just encouraging that gentle pushing down with the thumbs to find, if you're basically don't pop your bum out, tuck it in. Nice deep bend into that left knee. Inhaling, the arms lift. One long line of energy, really strong through the arms. Be aware what this back arm is doing. It does have a tendency to be a bit lazy. Shoulders down away from the ears. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale to lengthen that front leg, bumping the back toes in slightly, turning them to that 45-degree angle. Inhale, leaning forward, reaching forward. How far can you go before bringing the left hand to the inside of the shin, maybe to the floor or to the brick? Right hand up towards the ceiling. So we're really looking for that turning, that twisting of the rib cage. So it's almost like you're in between two panes of glass. Inhale, reaching up rather than reaching down. Finding that right hip melting up and back. Inhale. Exhale, bringing right hand to the hip. gaze goes down towards the floor. Maybe just having that block handy about a foot in front of the face. Deep bend into the left knee. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, lifting the right leg up and away from the floor. Maybe using the right hand on the hip to help open that right hip. So we're not aiming for the hip for the toe to be facing down here. We're opening the hip. Gaze can be to the floor. Maybe gaze can go to the ceiling. I'm not there today. Maybe you're on the block, maybe you're on the floor. But wherever you are, watch what you're doing with this back leg. If the back leg is like not engaged, so if it's floppy, if it's flailing around, you're going to fall really strong and engaged through that back leg, opening the chest to the side of the room. Maybe bending the right knee, maybe taking the Chapasana option, the bind. Staying with your breath. Balance is breath. Inhale. Exhale, releasing the bind if you have it. Bringing both hands to the mat as you step back, finding that low lunge. Planting right hand down, inhale, left arm lifts towards the ceiling. Maybe coming down onto the outside edge of both feet. Maybe lowering left hip towards the floor as left hand goes towards the back of the room. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, placing left hand to meet on the mat, stepping back to plank, and either working through your final vinyasa or coming straight back into downward facing dog. Wherever you are, coming down onto the knees, crossing the ankles, and bringing the soles of the feet together. And you've got two options here coming into a Baddha Konasana. You can either keep the feet close in towards the body, hands interlace and wrap around the toes. You inhale to extend, exhale, start to hinge forward. This is going to get more into the hips, but you're keeping a straight spine, you're keeping the elbows inside of the knees. If you want to take a more restorative option today, taking a wide diamond with the feet and really allowing the body to bend, finding that rounding in the spine, bringing the crown of the head down towards the feet. It might not reach, it might reach. It might reach next week, it might reach next year. But really just allowing yourself to surrender to the pose, turning the gaze inward and checking out what's going on with your internal weather, so your mood inside. And back to your breath, allowing your breath to find space within the body. Inhale to walk yourself up and lowering down all the way onto the mat. Taking any final movements you need here, so if you do want to take a twist, if you just want to squeeze the knees in, taking what you want today before finding your way into your Shavasana, your final pose, your rest, never to be skipped. I suppose it's really important because it's where the nervous system assimilates everything that we've just done and the body kind of puts everything together. It's where we learn, it's where we reset, it's where we rest. Even if you can just have time for 30 seconds or so, just making sure you're finishing your practice with a rest. Taking a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. One more like this, in through the nose, let, and out through the mouth, go. So if you do have time today to spend time in your Shavasana, I do encourage it, but I will leave you here. Thank you so much for your energy, for your time, for your practice, for your patience today. And I'll see you again on the mat another day. Namaste.